Hey, it's me, John Teapot or whatever. This is gonna be the third bias drama video, the fabled third video. But there will definitely be a fourth for reasons I will explain at the end. But it's whatever. Hopefully you guys know the deal at this point, but I'm gonna say it again just in case. This video is going to bring up a decent amount of names, probably around like 3 or 4. And it's primarily going to be people who are a part of the BIAST staff. And so, please do not harass anyone I end up mentioning in this video. You're like scum of the earth if you end up doing that, and I do not want those type of people around my channel because it's generally like terrible behavior. I'm gonna try to keep this as coherent as possible, but apologies for if this seems rushed or messy or if I end up sounding really off. It's because I am still partially sick and or my allergies, although it is starting to go away. And I also don't want to be too loud because, I'm in a house with others. So I apologize for possible worse mic quality, although this is being recorded with the mic that I've been using for streaming and not the mics that I used in the previous drama videos or videos where I talked. Like the video that it was called Hi, and it was just a quick update I recorded with this mic. So hopefully it sounds better. I did do some small checks and it did seem like it sounded better, but not a lot better, so we'll see. Alright, so a decent amount of stuff has happened since last time. So I'm just gonna start from where I know. So since I made the last video, the composer Trex, sorry if I possibly pronounced her name wrong, because I do remember there also being someone else possibly named Trax instead of Trex, but sorry if I ended up getting that wrong, has left the dev team, and they were a composer for a decent amount of tracks, and also was basically the sole owner or creator of the fanboy skin for Slacker. They cited that they did not feel welcome on the team, and with this, obviously, the skin has been removed, as well as the theme, and just everything regarding it that was upcoming, which is that they had the unique TV animation screen at the top right, and their Last Man Standing theme has been cancelled. If you want to still listen to it, listen to their theme, both old and the one that we had before they were removed. It can be found in the BIAST OST playlist on YouTube if you, still want to listen to it. Sometime shortly after this, an animator left the team, I think, but this was around a week ago at this point in time, at the time of writing and or recording, and I can no longer see the messages related to this due to something else I will end up bringing up later. Okay, so next, we were going to get a collab with the Recall a Hollow Heart ARG, which would have been an Ace of Spades skin for Observer, although I might be wrong, they might not be named Ace of Spades, but you know what I mean, hopefully you know what I mean. It would be unique skin for Observe, unique animations, and supposedly unique theme, but the ARG has been cancelled by the ARG's creator for something that basically also caused tons of other stuff to happen, which was that Lemons, who's basically the owner or director of the game, called someone the hard R in Discord DMs. And I do want to add, because not everyone knows, but Lemons can in fact reclaim the hard R, although they still should not be saying it. And basically through word of mouth, this basically became public info, among some other things that I'm going to talk about later. And because of this, a secret BIAST Forsaken collab that was actually secretly in the works was cancelled, as the Forsaken team didn't want to work with the BIAST team after this. And so because this collab was cancelled, the parts of the collab were leaked on Twitter. BIAST would have apparently gotten a chance skin, as in like chance from Forsaken, as a skin for Ashley, or Ashley whatever, however you pronounce it, I still don't know, with a unique outro, and the opposite would have happened in Forsaken, which means Ashley would have become a skin for Chance with a unique gun model. Again, hopefully I'm showing the screenshots on screen. If not, I probably got really lazy. On top of this, would have also gotten Shrapper as a skin for... I put slash cur, but slasher, not slash cur, and young cubed Hexa as a skin for Shedlesky. Along with Chance as Ashley, we were also going to get Cool Kid as Slacker, but most of these didn't get past the concept phase besides Chance and Ashley parts of the collab. Although, a part of the collab actually did make it into Forsaken, which is that, ironically, for considering, what my channel is based on, Scout Pot for Noob was originally planned to be added as a part of the BIAST collab, since he's based off of the Teapot NPCs, I think. Don't really know. But Forsaken devs thought that the skin was unique enough from BIAST to be added even after the collab was cancelled. Now, there is the slightest chance that the Forsaken team may reconsider and add parts of the collab outside of Scout Pot, as I've seen some people discuss it and say they can't really speak on it, but I honestly don't really see it happening anytime soon. Also, side note, I do plan on making some sort of Forsaken video for Scout Pot. Even before I found out he was a part of the cancelled collab, I just don't know what to make the video about at the moment, so A quick break to talk about another minor incident before going on to the main stuff. A tester who had admin permission for some reason managed to ping everyone in the main server, which is Evil Larry Lair, and sent the video that had the hard R in it. We ended up learning later that this tester could reclaim the slur, but people at the time didn't really know this. Obviously, this caused the server to go into a panic, and it resulted in the server being locked down and the tester being promptly banned. Now, at first the reason for this happening was originally thought to be that the tester had gotten hacked, but it was revealed by the testers themselves that, nope, they didn't get hacked, they just felt like doing it. Funnily enough, they also said it in the RAC server, which is the server I co-own with a BIAST staff member, and was actively talking to this person, and they did not even try to justify what they did. They just said that they just did it. So, we ended up banning them, and as far as I'm aware, they're basically banned from everything BIAST related, and obviously the server got unlocked a bit later. Now, on to more recent-ish stuff. If you've seen what's been going on in Forsaken and some other games recently, you've also probably seen that they've been getting hacked by someone named Kata. Well, around 2 or 3 days ago at the time of writing, it was assumed Kata had actually gotten into the BIAST server and pinged announcements, and that the BIAST server was going to be next, which caused the server to go into a frenzy again. And the server got locked down. Again. Well, supposedly this wasn't actually Kata, but was instead an alt of a staff member named Noonie, just created supposedly just for this as a joke or a bit. I'm saying supposedly here because nothing is really confirmed at all. Most of this is just the word of staff or rumors that I've seen. And the message that caused all of this, the message of them pinging announcements or pinging everyone, whichever one it was very swiftly deleted, so I could not check where the message was or what exactly it was or the account that made it. And the reason for that is what I'm going to talk about in the next section. So, around 2 days ago as of writing this, for reasons that are mostly speculation, but we can kind of just use context clues. After the server got locked randomly, supposedly for staff to quote-unquote take a break, certain higher-ups on the staff team that randomly decided to archive both the dev-only server and the main server, which is, again, evil Larry Lair. But supposedly this was done without a majority of the staff team being informed, and, on top of this, a higher-up staff member misunderstood this announcement message and thought that they were instead deleting both servers, which caused all kinds of drama and stuff to happen that I, again, cannot find, because, well, shortly after all this happened, a new staff member was brought onto the staff team to function as a community manager while the server was locked, and they basically decided to revamp and organize the entire server to just make it look more professional and nicer. Although a decent amount of people seem to agree that this wasn't even really needed. And because they actually deleted a majority of channels, people also seem to think that this was less to make the server look better, but more to cover up their tracks almost. Because by deleting entire channels, obviously that deletes hundreds of thousands of messages that are in them, and they just simply can't be traced anymore. There was also the rumor going around that this new community manager was a community manager for another Roblox Discord server that supposedly completely fell apart under, basically under their role or jurisdiction when they were the community manager, and supposedly let that same Discord server basically get raided and did nothing to stop it. However, this is basically a rumor that was just told by a singular person and nobody else. I wasn't given any evidence, just word of mouth, but it felt important to bring it up here in case it does actually happen to be true. There's a very good chance it just wasn't documented well. So, then things were quiet for around 24 hours. The server did actually get unlocked shortly after being revamped and organized, although the new staff, in my opinion, are being much more strict about the wrong things. For example, I ended up bringing this up in the ARC server, and a lot of people agreed with me, but I was basically threatened to be warned by a chat moderator who supposedly, I think, knew, for telling someone to play our execution last on and not Guts and Black Powder, because the devs of Guts and Black Powder did some bad stuff, and the topic of the game is basically banned on the server, which I've not been keeping up with the game. I stopped playing it months back, so I don't know what's been happening with that. But considering that something probably did happen, I would feel it was fair to say something to me. But the thing was, I wasn't talking about it, and neither was the person I replied to. In fact, I told them to play other games instead, because, again, like I said, I haven't played Guts and Black Powder, and I actually thought the game was kind of boring. I was telling them to, play other games. On top of this, we weren't even discussing the game. It was just brought up offhandedly. So, being threatened to be warned over something like this, over something I feel like is basically nothing, is interesting. Also during this period, staff were supposedly warning and muting anybody talking about the now released doc before it was posted and finished. And while they were saying they aren't trying to silence people by doing this, it does come off that way, as you are inherently silencing people talking about something that's obviously bad for you, as in for the staff team. So it is kind of just the vibe that they were sending out to everybody. And this was before the doc was even out yet. As a side note, this also means that when this video gets posted, I'm likely not going to be allowed to post it, as I'd probably unironically get banned for talking and bringing attention to this. And I feel it's best that people know what's going on, so obviously I'm going to make a video about it. I'm making this video so people on this platform, as in YouTube, understand what's going on, because obviously not everyone has Discord or Twitter. And although I still recommend that you read stuff like the Google Doc, which, speaking of, that's what I'll be talking about next. So, when I woke up yesterday morning, I found out the Google Doc was released overnight, and I honestly can't remember if the server got locked or not, but would it surprise you if it did? So, what's in the doc? Well, the doc is split into several tabs and sections, so I'm going to try to go by the way the doc is organized from beginning to end. Before I continue, I recommend reading the doc yourself, so I'll have it linked in the description, because, once again, I don't want this to act as a replacement, or like I'm speaking for anybody, so I just recommend you reading it yourself. So, the doc starts off by showing that the staff team is just terrible at communicating, with proof to back it up. I'll probably show some of the screenshots on screen right now. But the main thing that's brought up here is the incident earlier that I mentioned with the dev server getting deleted due to a misunderstanding. But the doc also shows screenshots from anonymous people on the staff team stating that they aren't treated very well in terms of communication by higher-ups. The next section of the doc is really short, but it basically explains what happened with Observer. Which, for those who don't know, the original Observer design was going to be, well, not was going to be, but was pulled. That design that was pulled was the design that we currently have in game, which is like you most obviously see with Observer and Queen, which is, white torso, black limbs, crown, stuff like that. And this design ended up being pulled because the community was sexualizing Observer, which wasn't even an original character for the game, but was from an ARG. And Observer, canonically to the ARG, was 16, and so was the creator. So people sexualizing them basically made the creator uncomfortable, which is what led to Observer being pulled from the game. So, staff member, a lead dev named Milk, ended up redesigning Observer to be a bit different, but still kept Observer slightly tied to the ARG, although just renamed them to Watcher instead of Observer, which kind of sounds like a joke, but it wasn't. The more important detail, though, is that when the redesign was announced, Milk basically started encouraging people to sexualize the design, stating that they were 22 instead of 16, which just generally made some of the staff uncomfortable. Next section of the doc explains what's been going on regarding the dev skins and canceled collabs. Primarily, the dev skins that Milk had teased a lot in the server, and also on Twitter. The doc basically says that the dev skins that are collabs were made entirely without permission. Those being Artful Ashley, Devesto Ashley, Pursuer Trapper, Nico Observer, JX1 DX1 Observer, Father Observer, Content Deleted, and even Cool Killer, which was actually made fully public. And that assets were taken from Dive Def directly to make the Artful and Pursuer skins. Don't really have much else to say there. It's kind of just, it is what it is. The doc ends up going a little bit more into detail, so again, I recommend you read it yourself. The next part of the doc is basically a full expose on one of the lead admins, Milk, I just brought up a little bit earlier. To try to sum it up, the doc basically explains that Milk doesn't take anything seriously and is just generally rude to others with no care in how they act. There were screenshots of them from both the dev Discord server and the main Discord server to back it up. The doc then basically goes on to speculate that the dates of Milk making their socials in their Roblox account actually line up with someone by the name of Shirls, who's basically exposed and left the internet. It also shows that Milk had someone on their friends list who then also had Shirls friended, before that account mysteriously got deleted. Milk also ended up having a badge from the game that the Shirls had made as well, which just adds on to the list of evidence. But wait, there's more. The doc then shows more voice clips for Milk and Shirls, basically showing that they sound extremely similar, and even shows a screenshot of Milk very ominously saying in the dev server, quote unquote, "I shouldn't even be in BIAST with who I am," which is obviously hinting towards them doing something bad without even saying it. Add on to this, I was given a copy of Milk's response to this, which before they even posted it, which they posted it publicly on Twitter, although I honestly could not bear to watch it because it was obvious that only 40 seconds to around a minute in that they were not taking it seriously, which just lines up to their general behavior. So I did not feel that it was worth watching, because I didn't feel like that I would get anything, really any new from it that we didn't already know. Although I ended up being told from staff members who did actually manage to sit for the entire response that Milk supposedly self-admits that they are actually a predator. And at the time of writing, Milk has been removed from the dev team, which also means that all of their skins are going to be redesigned or changed, and that a lot of the animations are going to need to be remade. But, again, most importantly, Observer/Watcher is going to be redesigned a second time. So, I'm going to have hopefully I have a screenshot on screen, but a staff member did post everything that's going to have to be changed or reworked, whether it be redesigned or reanimated. So hopefully I'm showing that. Putting this here, but literally while I was writing the script, I found out Milk had actually posted an old doc made on them that basically goes over the past behavior and how they made NSFW content and said some extremely weird stuff. So make of that what you will. I won't be covering it for the sake of brevity, but I will have it linked in the description, mostly because this is something that Milk posted themselves on Twitter, but I just didn't have the time to cover it. And because it's also just partially unrelated, because it's not related to BIAST, but I still felt the need to bring it up here. Finally, the doc basically ends off with several staff members, both anonymous and non-anonymous, coming about their experiences regarding how they were treated while working on the staff team. The main things that can be noted from all of their experiences is that 1. Higher-ups in the staff often ignore lower staff and have to basically be pestered to get them to notice or answer lower staff. 2. The work of lower staff is often scrapped randomly or last second. 3. The work of lower staff, when not scrapped, seems to often be pushed out as soon as possible, with no regards for bug fixing, or just generally not helping the lower staff with problems. 4. The higher ups in the staff team poke fun of or just generally belittle the lower staff and their work for no reason. I'm not going to put their testaments or what they said here. I'm not going to have screenshots and what I basically said was paraphrasing, because I do not want to speak for them. Again, go read the doc yourself, because they are way more in detail with what happened. But this is basically just notes I took from reading all of them. Also, a small note, I did not know Kira made the Teapot NPCs. I basically owe them my life now, so yeah. And so, we are now in the aftermath of all that. From what I've seen, progress in the game is going to continue, but basically everything has been delayed, with several staff quitting, Milk getting exposed and fired and all that. So, yeah. I know I said this in the last video, The game does really seem like it's in a shaky state right now, and I'm unsure what's going to happen. The only thing I know was that I was told from Melting themselves that Melting, who's one of the lead developers, is going to take over as the game's director, and Lemons is going to take more of a backseat role. But that's the most I know of as of now. And also, partially, should have mentioned it in the last section, but we actually did get teased as what the replacement for Potdead is going to be, because, as I said in the previous section, Milk has been fired for the weird stuff that they have done, which also meant their skins had to be changed. So our replacement for Potdead is going to be Arrow Fruitiger Pot or something like that. So we're going to have a Fruitiger Arrow skin in the game now that's also still a teapot skin. So I'm pretty excited. Hopefully I'm showing it. I'd be kind of disappointed if I'm not. So, as for me, I'm basically going to consider this a second strike, and anything large that happens again, or just in general if things don't change, I'm probably going to end up leaving the community entirely and just never touch the game again, which would honestly be disappointing, because this would mean that's like 900 Robux down the drain. That's like $10 I wish I could get back. But, you know, I'm all for giving people chances, except for when they do really bad or stupid things. But I can only give so many chances. So I'm hoping the staff team, both lower and higher, can resolve whatever's going on backstage. And I really hope the supposed toxic work culture and the dev team gets resolved within like the next month or two. Because if not, and something ends up being said about it, I'm probably gonna just be gone. I've seen some people comment asking what that will mean for me. I have plans to make videos about games on Steam like TF2, or just talking about random stuff for fun. I have 2 videos planned for Gravedigger, and there's also some other Roblox games I'm going to check out soon that I might make videos on. I mean, if you have any recommendations, feel free to comment them. And also, people were asking what will happen regarding like my character, John Teapot, and basically asking if my old like channel theme will return if I quit BIAST. And I'm just going to say now that it won't. John Teapot may have been created because of BIAST, but I feel he can stand on his own, separated from it, kind of like how Scoutpot was. And I also think he's a better channel mascot than my Moth dude, so there's that too. I think I'm basically done here. Sorry if I got anything wrong. I mean, someone will probably let me know, like a staff member in the comments or something, but go read the docs yourself. I know Lemons hasn't made her a response yet to the doc and everything going on, but again, I feel like I had to get this video out to inform people, not just about what's going on, but also just how I feel about stuff. I was kind of crunched for time to record and edit because of school, stuff like that. I'm going to do work, and last time it took Lemons a bit long to respond, so you know, but again, just like last time, when Lemons does put out a response, I'm going to make a video about it, no matter how small or how large, to just keep people updated. And then hopefully from there, things hopefully get better for the game, but we'll see. Feel free to follow me on my socials that I have on YouTube, and join the RSC server, because that's probably where I'm going to be talking for a good bit now. But that's all I got for now. So I'll see you guys next time. So bye. Alright, so this is probably gonna put this at the end of the video, but like this is me like the next day. There's been like tiny bit more updates. For one, the creator of I Has a Face Lulz, which is the ARG that Nico and JX are from, made a short Twitter thread basically saying that they were basically like displeased by the BIAST staff team for adding in JX and Nico without their permission. And also just expressing that like people in the Discord were just gonna say like displeased about them having to be removed. There's not really much else to it. It's just that they said they wanted JX and Nico to be removed because not only were they not attributed properly or credited, but they also, again, just didn't want to work with the team. They don't, obviously, because of a ton of stuff that's happened, they rightfully just don't want to work with them, which is understandable. And then, I guess, in terms of good news, the original Observer is back, which now means earlier in the video when I said that Watcher was going to have to be redesigned, which meant Observer was going to be redesigned twice. That's basically all undone now. The original design is going to stay in game, although the creator did say that is going to be changed up a bit. But yeah, so okay, now bye, because that's all I needed. That's all I needed to say. Okay, bye.